Hi. Okay, so I was gonna try something new today. I have some spinach that I need to use up. So I was thinking I will do a little cooking and story time. Although this oil is probably gonna start making noise, but that's fine. So the story today is gonna be about my experience with DMT. So I've only done DMT once, and I am going to tell you how, well, one, why I ended up trying DMT, and two, my experience on it while cooking. So let's see how we do. Okay, so I just put the onions in. I let the oil get a little hot. Well, not a little hot, very hot. Okay, this might be too all over the place if I'm cooking and telling you, but let's see what happens. Okay. Let those get translucent. And story time. Okay, I think I'm gonna do story time over here. Oops, so y'all don't have to listen to that oil, but we'll have to go check on it. Yes. Is that a good height? Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so this is gonna be kind of a long one because I want to walk y'all through all of it. I'll keep it quick though. I'm pretty good at keeping attention, maybe. So, in 2018, it was before I moved to Austin. I still lived in Minnesota. Me and two of my close girlfriends went out for dinner, and I ordered a veggie burger. And I did say to her I'm allergic to nuts, and she said, okay, like I'll let them know. And they brought me the veggie burger. It was a black bean burger. So I ate it. I ate about probably a quarter of it, and I was just not feeling right. And I started feeling a little bit weirder, and I'm allergic to nuts, as I mentioned. And the waitress came back over, and I was like, hey, are there nuts in this? And she was like, oh, let me go ask. So she goes and asks, and turns out there are cashews in it. That being said, I had not had an allergic reaction in forever, and like really, I had never in my life had a bad allergic reaction to something that I ate. I had something that I put on my skin. We won't go there, but I had never ate something where I got a bad reaction. But so I thought I would be fine, but I start feeling weirder and weirder. Long story short, about 12 hours after I ate the burger, my mind ends up going black. It's like I was losing oxygen. I could tell I was losing oxygen. I was about to faint, but my mind went completely black. But this computer typing came up in my mind. It was like bright red, bright green, bright blue, like an old school computer screen if it were like trying to program itself. But it kind of felt more like deprogramming it in this sense. Just this old computer screen is in my head. I'm about to fall over, but I'm still conscious because I'm at my mom's house. I didn't drive home that night. I went to my mom's. My mom is there like, she's like, oh my God, Becca. You know, she's just freaking out, thinking that, you know, not knowing what's happening. To be honest, so my mind is a computer screen, but I'm trying to calm my mom down, like, Mom, please stop. You know, you freaking out is making this worse. And I'm also praying to God to please, I'm not ready to go yet. So I think I just end up sitting down and I'm fine for a second. We get in the car to go to the hospital, and I end up being fine, okay? So we'll just end it there. I end up being fine. And here's what happened. I had taken an EpiPen after I ate the cashew. What someone's thought was that I should not have taken the EpiPen. That was too much for my body. All I needed was a little Benadryl. So once I finally took a Benadryl, like 14 hours later, I was fine. It was in the end, a good learning experience, because now if I eat a nut, I know just take Benadryl and all is good. Don't take your EpiPen. I don't need an EpiPen for a nut. Okay, so there's that. So after that experience happened, it was absolutely a life-altering experience. I know I live my life differently now, or I've lived differently since that happened, but in a good way. You know, like life is precious. I thought I was dying. I did think I was dying. I don't know if I was actually close to dying, but when my mind was deprogramming, I was like, whoa, this is what happens when you die. You deprogram and your mind turns to a computer screen, or at least mine does. So after that happened, I would Google every now and then, like, mine turned to a computer screen. My mind went black and old neon computer letter typing came up. It was just scrambled letters. And I was going to make a painting of it because it's like I want to know what was happening to me. That was so strange, but it was kind of hard to describe. And so I started a painting of it. And then here's part 2 of the story. I'm on a dating app and I meet a guy and we have this amazing time. He comes over to my place and he sees the painting and he's like, oh, what's this? And so I tell him the story I just told y'all. And he tells me, oh, it sounds like your body was releasing DMT. And I'm like, okay, like I had maybe heard of that, but I had no idea what it was. So he tells me about it and he's like, I have some at home. Do you want to try it soon? I was like, yeah, like I'm finally gonna have an answer. Okay, y'all, let's go check this. I'm sorry. I know how annoying, like we're getting into it and now I'm gonna go check this. This is my life. I am one giant, like, multitasker. Let's just put it on low and let those simmer. Yeah, let's do that. Ah! Okay. Yes. Okay. Hi. So I tell him, yeah, let's do it. So, like, the next day, I go to his place. It's nighttime. He had a beautiful patio and we set up like a cozy little nook on his patio. Bring out a sheepskin rug. He had a tree laser on the tree. It was really beautiful. A nice setup. I felt great. So he gives me the dose of it and here's my experience on DMT. So I inhale and I'm like, when's it gonna happen? And all of a sudden, like, it's like him and I we started to twist into one. You know, like, I need to maybe I'll find an image and add it to this, but it's like just a swirl. We were swirling into one of another. And as we swirled, we were combining more and more until everything went white. And while we were combining, it was kind of like, in a sense, losing my sense of self. Like, oh, I'm losing me and becoming one with another person, kind of. But everything goes white, and it's the lightest I've ever felt in my life. I remember it was like, what is this feeling? It was like all the pain, all the past trauma. And mind you, like, I have had an amazing life. And I've done a lot of work on myself, so it's not like I was harboring all this pain and trauma, but, you know, everyone has pain and trauma. So all of that was released. And I remember, like, I was conscious enough to, while on DMT, I was feeling like, wow, girl, you're losing, this is what ego death feels like. And I knew that I no longer had a name. So I no longer had a name, I no longer had an image. It was just my soul, I guess. And it felt incredible. And my friend who I was with told me that I was just looking around like I had, you know, like I had just seen, I don't know, the best thing in my life for the first time ever. Like, it was just pure joy. I just felt pure joy. And I remember there was this moment when I was like, I remember during that, I was like, I don't want to go back. A part of me didn't want to come back to real life. I kind of wanted to stay here, but then the conscious in me was like, girl, I remember the biggest thought was, you have a mom. Like, your mom needs you, and your siblings need you, and you still have a lot to do. You still have a lot to do on this earth, but wow, it felt so good. And ever since that experience, I definitely live my life differently, because now it's like my goal is to try to get to that lightness, you know, like just to keep working, to let go of to let go of past things that I'm holding on to that I probably don't even know I'm holding on to, and just to feel that to get as close to that level of just, lightness as possible. So one other thing I want to go over that y'all might have questions on is that I think this sounded a little confusing. So I mentioned we were swirling into one, just like combining until it went white. But while we were combining is when I was losing my sense of self. Like I was aware that I no longer had a name. I was aware that I no longer had an image. I no longer had a look. I was aware that I no longer had things. I was aware that I pretty much no longer existed aside from this thing that was left, which I'm thinking now is a soul. And I do think is what death must feel like. I mean, I don't know, but that experience made me feel a lot better about death, because that shit felt incredible, And one other thing I will add is I was there when my grandma passed away. So I was at the hospital that day. I had actually been getting bullied in school. This was like in 8th grade. And so I told my mom I couldn't go to school because I was sick. That ended up being the day my grandma passed away, so I got to go to the hospital. And I remember the moment that she took her last breath. I was super close to my grandma, by the way. Like, I remember as a kid, I would pray to God to please not take my grandma. Or when he does take my grandma, to take me as well, because I don't want to live on an earth without my grandma. Like, that's how much I love my grandma. And I remember she took her last breath, and I felt that peace. I honestly felt like I saw little sparkles fly up into the sky. So anyways, all of this is to say, I personally think that after this life, there's more, and I think, although it is still scary, and I do feel although it's scary, I think that there's beauty in it in a way. Yeah, so that's my experience with DMT, and let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've tried it, what you've experienced. I've also heard people say the exact opposite of my experience, so like it was terrible, I never want to do it again. I personally don't really feel I have no desire to go seek out DMT again. That experience was great for me. I will add, the last thing is, so a DMT trip is really short. I don't even know how long it is, maybe 5 minutes. But after that, he gave me another hit, and the second hit that I took, it was completely different. It was still positive, but it was like this time. So that first time, it was I felt like my eyes were closed the whole time, even though they weren't. My friend told me my eyes were open. I felt like they were closed. But the second time I did it, I was looking around, and it was like the whole world turned into a computer screen, a computer game. I just remember everything was kind of glitchy. It was just like kind of upbeat, and yeah, it was way less internal. It was all external the second time. So that was interesting how different the two experiences were. Yeah, so what was your experience? And thank you for watching. I should go finish this food. It's probably like a bunch of straight up black fried onions right now. But yeah, if you like this video, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what types of videos you like from me. I've kind of been experimenting. This one was fun for me. Some of the other ones, I think it can feel hard for me to just let go and be myself, but a story like this that I'm kind of passionate about was nice. All right, time to seize the day. Thanks, y'all.